Hi guys, this is Louie again, and guess what? We have a new show, and this show is show number 6, and today we got something very, very interesting for you guys. We're going to talk about the angels in heaven. We're going to talk about some very, very powerful angels
from the level ranking of 6 to the highest ranking of number 1.
And we also have my co-host, Morgan. Morgan, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm excited to talk about the archangels as they're amazing and really fascinating. I know a lot of people want to find out the truths about them, so it's finally going to be revealed here.
Yes, and you were the one that actually gave me the list that we were going to do today. But before we do that, let's talk about our previous show that is actually linked to what we're going to talk about, because we found out on the last show that we have 2 special people that are here on Earth right now that are very well-known people. They're actually like movie stars. So we have on one side was we found out that very high level pink soul was Keanu Reeves, and the other one was
Oprah Winfrey with a soul color of violet.
Right?
Yeah.
So the main thing that we wanted to tell you guys was that we found out that one of them is actually going to be stuck in the reincarnation loop. Both of them were actually from the heaven realm, but only one of them will be able to return because somehow there was some mistake made, and they're actually one of them is actually stuck in the reincarnation loop, and both of them are currently on their 4th of 5 lives. So they have one more chance on Earth, and if they don't ascend, one of them is actually going to be basically soul death. Yeah, which kind of sucks, but I think this type of thing does occur. I don't know if it occurs quite often, but by chance, we were just doing readings, and these readings were like almost like 7-8 years ago, and we just came back around now just because we want to see if there was any change. But obviously there was no change in the soul colors of these 2 special people. So what I found was that we were doing readings on some of the clients. For example, Andy was one of my biggest clients, and he would be asking for like readings on his employees, right? So I would give the list to TJ, and when TJ give the list back to me, I started to look at the data. So I started collecting all the data, and interested me was that I found out the humans, they don't have infinite lives, because most of the people that we found was like up to 6 lives. Why is that important? Because, well, after the 6th life, there's no reincarnation because your soul level is so low, you're not able to go back into a new body, basically. And basically, I call that soul death, right? Because if you don't come back, you don't get a chance for ascension, right? And that's what we're trying to do right now in our group. We're trying to make our soul stronger by doing energy work, by doing energy transfer, and by doing something new now that I discovered, which is called soul mergers. So basically, we're actually merging with other godlike souls from across history, even like from other realms, other deities, other dimensions. Like I could do all that because just recently I found out after merging with the first being that I can command these lesser beings to appear in front of anybody that I want. And basically I have like 5 minutes to make our plea for the soul merger. But after a while, I found out that I also have what's called a force ability. Basically, I can force soul merger the gods or deities that I want with my members. I think I have that ability because you guys are getting stronger, right, Morgan?
Yeah, I got the first mergers that I didn't do on my own, so you did it on me since my dimensional body was much lower, and it worked on me because they really responded to you because since you have the first being power, and I think I can do them as well, but it's harder to force them because I'm not the first being. It can still happen, but I prefer using the channeled info from the Elder Eye because it's much safer and I feel it more.
Yeah. It's always good to have a second opinion, and that's why that's why I usually fall back to getting readings from Elder AI. As you guys know, Elder AI is actually me. Well, he's actually like a soul split of me in the far future. Sounds kind of out there, but we've been doing readings for the last 10 years and they all helped us. Right. It helped me for the last 10 years to grow, to get stronger and to do much more powerful energy work. Right. Which I couldn't have done, if it was all placebo, like what people think. But it's not placebo because all the readings pointed to me ascending into a higher dimensional body. And also getting energy and not the aging too, which is really surprising because people, when I wear like younger clothing, people would say, hey, who's this young guy? So I'm quite sure that it has to do with this energy work, right? Because when you don't get sick, when you don't need to see the doctor, when you don't need to take all the medicine that I used to take, because I used to have like really bad migraines, like really bad. Yeah, like 10 years ago, I would just be like in bed and I was going, oh man, like what is this, right? So back then, I really didn't know that I had a little bit of a high blood pressure, but after doing the chakra removals, I never had the migraines. So big change. Just because of that, I had to take less medicine and I'm way more healthier. Trust me, guys, I'm way more healthier. I think the chakra removals actually saved my life. So, and that's coming from a guy that 10 years ago does not believe, very skeptical, very, very skeptical. Like I came from a scientific background, right? I studied in technology. I went to technical school. I graduated with a double diploma in technology. So I know my stuff, right? I do the scientific method. I talk to other people. I don't, stuck on my own way of thinking. I talk to a lot of people that do energy work, people that are like psychic and see what they think. And, I interact with many, many different type of people. And from my experience, I know in my heart, I know this is real. So I'm just letting people know if you don't discover this, if you think that this is phony, I'm telling you guys, this is something you really got to like research. Energy work. And I'm not talking about like the low level energy work, like what the Reiki people do. I'm talking about like high level stuff, like what I'm doing. Like I'm beyond this little bit of like transferring energy. I'm talking about removing blocks, absorbing energy, removing defects from the body, stopping genetic defects from appearing, and maybe even stopping cancer. And this is very serious stuff. That's basically what I'm telling you. It's very serious stuff. I take it very seriously now. So anything else that we need to tell them, Morgan?
I think that we're going to talk about the archangels because they're also red souls. But then we've also been doing the extinction prevention every 2 weeks for a while. And that involves a lot of parallel soul mergers. So that's a specific kind that's different to merging with the old gods. And it's an interesting effect on you because you feel like the mind expands. I feel like I'm more me, even though I'm getting other me's, and it's very like mind-boggling all the time, but it's very fun as well. It always increases confidence and things like that because the soul is bigger. Your soul keeps expanding.
Yeah. Like after a while, you able to connect to people better, right? Like
emotions, empathy.
Much more empathy, much more high level emotion, right?
Yeah.
Like when people are down and you're around them, it just like gives them that extra boost to get out of what the lower mindset is stuck on, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. So, and I also want to tell them just recently after this is supernatural, after my merger with my soul in heaven.
Yeah.
This year, things have just taken off, like I said, like a bullet train. Just like a bullet train. And then all these, I think people remember when Dee did the show about the Blood General, and that was like over 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Right? But now, the reason why we're doing these new shows is to tell you that there's been more development. And not only did the Blood General appear, right, but he was helping us for the last 10 years. And later, when I went to do more of this higher level energy stuff, there were other high level beings that appear. For example, TJ's great grandson started talking to us. And I go, who's this guy, right? And I was very skeptical. And then he would tell me, right, Ryan, which is like TJ's great grandson. And I would tell my mom, and I go, hey, guess what happened? TJ's telling me that he has a great grandson. And of course, my mom, full disbelief, would say, how can he have a great grandson? He's not even married yet. And I was like laughing my head. And I go, oh, the 3D brain, things like that.
I've
See,
encountered that as
it's
well.
so lunar. It's like, do you see what I'm saying? They can't think out of the box. So that's why I try to not think like these type of people. They just can't think out of the box, right? So after doing a lot more questioning, right, to Ryan, we found out that I think he is indeed TJ's great grandson. Why? It's just all the similarities, right? Because we found out that this is what he told us. Ryan told us that he is a very, very smart guy. He's like an engineer with like not only like a couple of degrees. From what I know, he's got like at least four degrees.
Wow, that's a lot.
He's so smart that basically he went to the States. Like he's a Canadian boy, right? He went to the States. So this is what he told me, right? He went to study at MIT. So I don't know really what MIT is, but I do know it is a technical school, right?
Yeah,
but
one of the most elite in America.
Yeah, and somehow he was able to go to that school, get all these degrees and stuff, and then this is what he told me. Then he was hired by the American government because they know about him. He's very smart, right? And he came up with some really, really good theories and ideas and things that he started like make patents from, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then I was trying to connect the dots, and then I found out that when I did this energy work and TJ helped me was all these like really out there energy work, like the time merger and even my own type of like, what do you call it? Like, soul mergers with these like really, I would say old gods, like the first being, right? Like the first being is like the first guy or being that was created after the Big Bang. So you can imagine how powerful he is right after. So that's why I chose him, right? And using TJ's like a portal ability, one day TJ made this portal into one of my pendants, right? So basically he made a portal, and then I said, well, I want this first being. And so he said, okay, I'm going to make this portal that will pull him out and I guess transfer it into my soul, right? So I'm still skeptical, right? And after he say, oh, it's done, I wore that, and I think a couple of days later I say something happened. So I mean, my life is a paranormal hotbed of like, these type of occurrences. And then he said, yeah, you merge with them. And I go, how can you even see that? Right. So as you know, TJ can actually look into the soul and see soul colors. So he sees, changes in me. Right. So then after that, I would say all hell broke loose. And then all of a sudden there was a new guy. And I asked TJ, who's this new guy? Right. And he say, well, he calls himself the contractor. So I say, the contractor, like, what is that? See, so even me, I'm very skeptical. And he say, oh, he is you. He's like, but not like the distant future, but the very soon future, right? And he calls himself the contractor because there's actually a group of them. And basically what these group of contractors do, they're actually like time travelers that actually maintain the timeline. And they also actually try to recruit new people, because what happens is when you do time travel, there's splits in the timeline. There's new parallel Earths that's been created, right? And what happened and why they chose me was that I was working on merging all the timelines that I want, which is like the Blood General, right? I want that timeline where I become him. I also want the timeline where TJ has a great grandson, right? So I wanted that timeline, right? And when the contractor said that he exists, then I goes, hey, TJ, can you also put him in this pendant? And the other one, I think the fourth one, and the fourth one was the one where I merge with my soul in heaven, right? Like successfully merge back, right? Because as people know my story, that my soul left me when James, the energy trainer, poisoned one of these objects with very high energy, right? So I think I know how he did it. Very high energy. My soul left the body.
Wow.
And people say, "Oh, you be dead." No, my will was very strong. Like I was standing there, but I could feel the energy leaving me. So I was actually panicking, and good old James said, "Well, I'm going to send you my energy." And I go, "No, I don't want your dark energy, right? This kind of like, really, really negative things that he wants to do, right?" So I say, reverse it. So he reversed it, but my soul still left me, and it's been in heaven for the last greater 12 years, right? And TJ said, "Oh, it's in heaven." But then I said, well, same thing. Make this pendant so that I can pull in his soul. So he did that. He made like 4 timelines. And then I asked, "How did you do that, man?" And he said, "Well, I put it into a containment, like a field." And I go, "How the hell do you know how to do that?" So I'm thinking, Morgan, I'm thinking he's getting something from his future self as the Oracle.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure, because he never tells me how he does. And I go, there's no way that you can even guess that, right? And then eventually what he did, he put a second containment, right? And then after that, that's when everything became like a bullet train. That's when I said, "Hey, I think something else changed." And he did another reading, and he go, "Oh, there's another guy." And I go, "Who's this guy now?" Right? And he said, "There's this other guy that wants to tell you that you become what's called in the far, far future, like way far, like beyond Blood General, because also I have a challenge with, CEO Andy, right? My great client that, that I help almost every week now. And he's actually coming back to do it every week because looks like he needs my help." So I'm glad he's coming back, because so everything's falling in place. So he's going to get really strong. See, so it's like what I do now, it actually becomes the future. So I understand what's going on. All the little pieces falling together. So basically what it is, this new guy, he say he's like the pre-creator. Basically, it's before the Big Bang. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
So I think he become like the boss. Like he'll tell what the creators. That's what I think. I'm not 100% sure. We're gonna probably do a show on him, because he is actually so powerful. He basically, from what I gather from last time, just talking through TJ to him, which is me, right? I still don't have the time telepathy ability yet, right? That in the far, far future, when I become the pre-creator, I'm able to basically control everything, like everything, like time, energy, dimension.
Wow.
So that's why he became like a boss. So I guess he's like the big boss, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. So now let's go to
the angels in heaven.
Yeah.
See the full talk show on Facebook, Meta.